Hello and welcome to the Media Bubble Podcast, the podcast that talks about movies, anime, comics, video games, and whatever we feel like. I'm your host, Karol, and with me as always is my co-host, Fredrik.
Yeah, hello. And in this episode we're going to talk about an old cartoon show for me.
Yeah, you were about to show me Chip and Dale.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what you can read in the intro when I think about it. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, which is an old 80s, early 90s cartoon show. I think this was released 1988 or something like... No, 1989 maybe, something like that. It's a show that I kind of watched in my childhood. I wasn't born in the 80s when this was aired, but I owned a lot in VHS tapes and then DVDs when I was a child, so I watched a lot of it when I still was a child, you can say. Yeah. And it was sometimes airing on the normal TV as well.
For me, I have never... I know Chip and Dale because I am aware of Disney and all they do. But when I was a young wee lad, I haven't really been up to with what they do.
Yeah. Have you ever heard or seen anything of this show?
Nope. The most exposure I had is from the newest trailer they released for the movie.
Oh, okay. I thought we could talk a bit about that movie later on, but I'm thinking of maybe explaining the show a little bit. As I said, this is late 80s and early 90s, so technology of the show, like the ones weren't phones, mobile phones and things like that in the show like maybe you just can keep that in mind.
Okay.
But if we're going to a little bit of the background of the show, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers was created to be a new cartoon show after their success with DuckTales and the Gummy Bears and things like that. So the idea was originally for this show of small animals having a kind of rescue team and solving crimes and things like that, and originally Chip and Dale wasn't in it.
So who were the main characters?
Well, I have found this early picture which you can see here, and it shows 3 characters that actually made it in the show, these 3, and there's apparently also 3 characters that didn't make the show. There's a cricket and a lizard, which I have, and this is kind of new for me too. I didn't really know about these 2, but apparently that cricket and the lizard was planned for the show, but I guess scrapped. And then there was the main character, which was the main mouse character, which was supposedly going to be a kind of an Indiana Jones type of character, and it was apparently going to be named Kit Colby. But when they were showing this idea to Disney, they kind of wanted to maybe they said maybe they talked about maybe have Chip and Dale in it to give a bit more of Disney familiarity, recognition.
Yeah, I can guess it will be difficult to pitch a show with brand new characters when you can already have like Chip and Dale, just plonk them in and be instantly recognizable.
Which is kind of known Disney character. They have at least had some kind of fan base behind them, and their personalities kind of changed from how they were on the early shorts, because you can't really make those 2 into main characters. So For one, their speaking voice is a bit more clearer now, so you can actually hear what they are kind of saying.
That's a good trait for your main characters to have.
But when Chip and Dale came into the show, Chip took kind of over that Indiana Jones type of idea of a character. So I guess Chip is kind of the leader of this crew. I don't really feel like they have a leader per se that gives them orders, but the closest thing to a leader I think is Chip. And Dale is the one that has the red nose. So
Chip is the leader. He's outgoing, and Dale has a red nose.
Dale is more of the goofy one. He apparently got his outfit from Magnum P.I., which is a movie I haven't seen, but apparently that's kind of where that red shirt is coming from. And some old traits from Chip and Dale's classic shorts are in, like Chip always getting annoyed at Dale sometimes, because in the original shorts Dale was always the one that was a bit more goofy and made Chip a bit angry at him, and Chip sometimes punched Dale. So that the dynamic is a little bit more, is a little bit still here, but not to the extreme, you can say.
Okay, so what about the other characters? Who are we working with?
What we are working with is, let's see, what are this English name actually? Gadget. What the heck is that last name? Gadget Heckrens. Gadget is kind of the smart character of the group. She's the one that always invents stuff. Like you can see this flying machine right here.
Yeah,
she's the one
milk?
who's
detergent?
she's the one who created that. She's kind of the, I'm not exactly sure if you could call her smart, but she's the one that at least builds all the things.
She's a tech savvy one.
And Monterey Jack is he's kind of the a little bit older, but he's kind of the adventure type characters, more experience. Let's see, they have a description here. What does that say? Is a fat mouse with red mustache that wears a light brownish coat. His face. That wasn't really a good explanation of the character.
Yeah, so for you listeners, Fredrik actually pulled up a wiki for the show so that he can just illustrate stuff for me better.
Let's see. Yeah, Monterey also has a thing for cheese. He's
a mouse.
Yeah, but for him it's extremely. He becomes like a completely obsessed at the first smell of cheese.
That would I would like to draw like a line between cheese and alcohol, but it's already been drawn in the newest trailer for the movie where he was absolutely wrecked by cheese.
Yeah, and then there's Shipper, which is a normal housefly, or actually he's not normal because he's a lot stronger than a normal housefly, because flies are not strong enough to push buttons and things like that, but Shipper apparently can. Shipper is also the only character of this group that doesn't talk. He just makes noises.
So he took over the role of Chip and Dale from their shows.
Maybe. You can kind of hear Chip and Dale talking a bit in the old short, but it was kind of hard. Like
the Circle of Life.
Like if you would watch an old Disney cartoon, would you understand Donald Duck?
Probably no.
I probably would, because maybe that's just how much I have seen it, but I probably could understand him.
You developed like a Donald sense, like a Donald translation.
Yeah, I'm kind
skill.
of just, no, it's not that hard. Yeah. But the show kind of premise is that the ship, there is kind of tiny animals who solves big crimes.
So what are the crimes?
It's a various of things. It's sometimes mysteries and things like that. Some episodes, it a little bit depends on. Like you see, let's see here. Here are some of the names for the villains. Professor Norton Nimnol. That was a weird name when you think about it. You see this character here. He is the professor. He's one of the villains that actually appear in more than one episode, because usually a villain just appear in one episode. There are a few exceptions, but not many.
So it's a villain of the week show.
Yeah, kind of. But he is kind of the evil, crazy inventor who creates. You can see one of his creation here. This dog machines.
A really cute doggo, mechanical doggo.
Yeah, and that episode where what he did with those dogs is that those dogs stole a lot of cats.
Why?
Well, I can explain that the cats were supposed to. He stole a lot of cats because you know that thing of when you nod your
static
ear?
Electricity when you pet the
static
cats.
electricity. So he took a lot of cats and took static electricity from those cats.
That's not how it works. You don't need cats.
When you think about it, it would take a lot of power just to make that kind of machine. So maybe you could just have used normal power.
I'm just thinking, like, it doesn't have to be cats. You can just use it's material on the same material. If you not jeans on jeans, it's gonna be had static electricity.
So Chip and Dale in that episode, they notice a little girl who has lost her cat. So they are trying to figure out where that cat is, and they eventually found them in this big laboratory, and shenanigans happens, and they are being chased by the robot dogs, and eventually they solve the day.
Okay, so what's the deal with the cat, mafia cat on the left bottom corner? He's in a purple suit and he looks vaguely evil.
He's the kind of, if the show has a main villain, it's probably him. His name is Fat Cat.
Descriptive, yes.
And he has also some kind of a group of other side animals like wart, a lizard, mole, as slow witted but cheerful white mole, Meps, a tin alley cat, and Scoot, a rat. That rat doesn't appear in a lot of episodes, but he's the kind of main villain, and as you kind of said, he's kind of like a mafia boss of some way. He's kind of he's kind of also one of the few villains that know of Chip and Dale and the Rescue Rangers.
Okay, but I don't understand one. I need some clarification, because it's gonna tie back to Fat Cat. Like, do normal humans understand what Chip and Dale and the gang say?
No.
So how can this Fat Cat be a mafia boss? Is it just like an animal mafia, or is it?
Yeah, it's kind of an animal mafia.
So what crimes do they do?
There was a 5-part where their audience were explained of how they formed as a team, and in that audience also we see Fat Cat, and he was originally had a human who was also a mafia boss.
So what happened with the human?
Well, I'm pretty sure in that 5-part he went to jail.
Oh.
While I guess Fat Cat didn't, so he is kind of the...
Sir, you're being convicted of being a criminal. We'll put you to jail, and your dang cat too.
Well, maybe that was because why they couldn't. Because who would think that a cat can do evil?
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, he kind of does, so maybe that would have been better.
So with the show premise also, they travel a lot of different places in the world. They just don't stay in the same city. Sometimes there's an episode where they go to space, and there's also an episode where aliens comes to them when I think about it.
So what crimes do they stop in space?
In that specific episode where they go to space, I'm not really sure if they stop a crime per se, but the thing is they mistakenly went up to space. I think, if I remember correctly, it was Dale who wanted to visit the space stations to see the rocket go up, but somehow they managed to get into the rocket and are sent up to space. And there's happened something wrong with the rocket, so the rescue rangers have to take over for the humans and try to land the ship safely. And there's also an episode where they meet a bunch of Kiwi tribe.
I was thinking the fruit.
Yeah, the bird this time, and there's also an episode where there's a cult of mice. I'm not kidding here. There's an episode where there's like this weird cult where there's a bunch of mice who watches these commercials on a television, and they are kind of seeing that as their god kind of thing.
But I mean, we aren't so different in the grand sense of things. We also watch commercials, and we also adore things that are in said commercials.
Actually, something that I learned kind of recently is that apparently there's a weird kind of cult in Russia who worships Gadget, the girl mouse.
Why? Wait, is it a cult or is it just a fan club?
Maybe both. I'm not really sure how hardcore it is, but I've just recently heard of this. I don't know a lot about it.
I mean, when you think about it, a cult is just like a really hardcore fan club.
Maybe.
So is religion. But why her? Why Gadget? Like,
because she's the girl.
I mean, when
I don't have a bigger explanation than that.
I mean, when I look at the pictures, like, it's just a sausage fest. She's the only person that's a girl.
She's the only one I also feel like they deliberately made look hot. Like, Chip and Dale kind of just looks normal, and Monterey Jack...
I mean, they still took inspiration from Indiana Jones and, like, Magnum P.I., not really, like, kid-friendly references.
Yeah, so each episode was kind of like a new adventure of them, either being in the city and solving crimes, or getting to a new place and solving crimes, maybe in a castle. Sometimes in...
Give me a list of 5 crimes they've solved.
Let's see. It can be kind of hard because sometimes it depends on kind of the crime, because sometimes it's not really a specifically human crime per se.
Wait, so they stop humans?
Sometimes, but the humans maybe doesn't really know. One episode that I saw recently was this opera episode where Dale thought that he was taking the gang on a cinema, but instead it was an opera, and there's kind of this secret guy who tries to kill the main character but fails. So Chip and Dale goes to find out who that is, and it's apparently an alligator who is apparently really into musicals.
So why would he kill the actors? Like,
so he could be the main character.
But he's an alligator.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be tough to say the lines with so many teeth.
Yeah, but that didn't stop him. So in the kind of end of the episode, he locks the human up in a chair, and he tries to do the main character's role and it takes a weird amount of long time before humans recognize that he's an alligator. But eventually when they do find out, everyone, of course, runs away.
You know what? I think he was just misfortunate. Like, I think like
Yeah,
if he
but
convinced the humans enough to be in the
It
wall.
was a little bit crazy. Like he apparently could kill really easily, like to get the main part.
But he is an alligator.
So Chip and Dale then to solve the situation. Chip plays the part of the opera singing girl, and Dale then comes in as the villain so there kind of is this sword fight.
But they're both, I mean, yeah, suspension of disbelief. I'm not going to be pedantic about this.
So how the, I guess, crime in this case is solved is that Gadget has done something with the what is this called, where you have a water
Boat?
no it's
Sewer.
kind of no it's kind of
A pool?
no it's kind of for a
Glass.
fountain
Huh?
which he kind of installed so that when his tail would be in this fountain, they could take him down, like when you push the bottom on the toilet. It's
Oh, yeah, so like the
flushes
fountain
down.
flushes. Cruel. But
So-
effective.
Yeah, so that was one episode.
Okay, one.
I think it
Hey,
would
wait
take.
for four.
I think it's take a bit longer time to make 5 episodes. There was one episode which I also remember. There was kind of this weird egg collector who stole eggs from all kind of birds, and Chip and he stole one from this mama bird who Chip and Dale is trying to help. So they are setting free all these stolen bird eggs then, so they can, I guess, live.
I mean, if they don't, I mean, the birds that lay eggs, those eggs need some warmth, otherwise they'll die. So that's understandable.
Let's see. I have talked. There was one episode when they went to Ireland, and can you guess what they are meeting when you go to Ireland, Carol?
A snake.
No, a leprechaun, of course. So there's becomes this weird episode where I guess Dale tried to take the leprechaun's gold, and the leprechaun kind of tricked him and took Dale as a slave to work in the leprechaun's mine. And
Oh no.
I don't completely remember exactly everything, but the rest of the gang meets this, I guess, wizard of some kind, or maybe it's an good leprechaun or something. I don't really remember, but they kind of help them with this so they can free Dale from this evil leprechaun.
So what is your favorite episode of the series? Something you remember really fondly.
Not completely sure.
Anything?
I tried to.
Like a favorite scene. You don't. It doesn't have to be an episode. Just like a favorite thing that you really enjoy of the series.
Well, I enjoy. I guess I enjoyed the teamwork with them. Their different personality of the characters and maybe how that works. And
So how the main characters bounce off each other.
yeah, but that kind of is that's kind of an answer to every show. like if the main character doesn't work, then the premise probably doesn't work either.
But you see, not every show works. So it's actually like a good thing that they could pinpoint a good character.
The thing is, I have an episode in mind, but I can't exactly remember it because it was a long time ago. It was some kind of castle episode, and I think there was an alligator in that episode as well.
So listeners, if you know the episode, leave a comment or a 5-star review.
Well, I have described a lot of episodes at least, so Let's see. I also remember an episode where Shipper feels a little bit tiny. So he
feels tiny or he is tiny?
I think he feels tiny this time. So this evil professor has created a spray which can turn bugs big. So Shipper mistakenly gets to be a big housefly. And that creates apparently more problem than solves them. And so he gets to learn the lesson that his size is okay.
That size doesn't matter.
Mm.
Exactly, like we stand short kings.
Mm. I also remember this. I also remember an episode where Chip and Dale meet some pirates.
There is everything in this show, isn't there?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, not human pirates, mouse pirates in that case.
Aww.
That might be one of my favorite episodes when I think about it.
I mean, can I give some input into this? Like, I've seen the better designs of the main characters. It's a shame that they don't have like a lizard. The lizard looks so cool in the better designs.
Yeah, there's 5 main characters. I feel like they probably could have had another one. But anyway, the mix of the characters works really well at least.
So how many seasons did this show have?
1.
Only 1? How many episodes?
65.
Okay.
The thing with Disney's strategy at this time is that they would not make more than 65 episodes.
Of any show?
Yeah, that was kind of a rule they had, but there was a lot of show who broke the rule anyway, so...
It was like more like a guideline.
Yeah, kind of thing. They said that they didn't want to make more to not make it stale or something like that, but there was a lot of show who, like DuckTales for an example, had 100 episodes.
But they still ended it. Because like...
this show doesn't really have an ending per se. It doesn't really have a ending episode. It's kind of that thing of...
see you in the next episode.
Yeah, kind of new adventure every week kind of thing. Except for a 5-parter which explains how they became a group.
I mean, for a villain of the week show, it works because like you can. I mean, we have to take into consideration when this show was running. So streaming services weren't a thing. You could only get your hands on it on a VHS tape, which is not like everyone's forte. So
this was also part of a thing called the Disney Afternoon.
Yeah,
which was kind of a block of Disney shows.
So instead of like playing, because I also guess there's no continuity.
No.
Yeah, so you can just play episodes over. Like it's a loop.
Yeah.
You can always loop the episodes.
That was kind of the strategy of cartoons at this time.
Because it isn't like until like quite recently when we have like a serialized children's television.
Yeah, that's really recently. Maybe in the last 10 years or something like that.
Yeah. Because when I think of like serialized TV, like animation, not children's TV, but it's animation. Like I'm thinking about what's
Pokemon.
It is serialized but it's still the show where you can just tune in to any episode and be caught up with everything. Yeah. It's like Greatest Anatomy or like Hope's Hospital.
Like it's kind of made that way because so that if you miss an episode, you don't really. Yeah. So like Chicago Fire is really good in that reason because it's like there is like ongoing season-long plots, but like if you miss an episode or two, you can still like get caught up with everything. Yeah, but I wouldn't say that this was maybe my favorite show growing up, but it's one that is up there.
Yeah,
it's one that I liked enough to talk in an episode about.
Actually, what about if we take a little break and you can show me little clips from the show? So I can react to them.
Oh, I also one thing I really like to say is that all of the Disney shows of this era had a great theme song, and Chip and Dale's theme song was really great as well. I'm not really sure if I can sing anything of it because of...
No, just show me. As I said, listeners,
So
we'll be right back.
We're taking a live break right now.
A live break for research purposes.
Well, so we just saw some clip. I also want to explain that maybe one of the reasons why I like this series so much is it's kind of this tiny, like small animals that you maybe don't know solve these crimes in this big human world, maybe.
I mean, they're definitely the underdogs, seeing that they're so small. And yeah, you showed me some clips.
I don't think it was so good clips I showed him, but it was something, I guess.
Serviceable. I mean, you showed me the intros, the Swedish intro, and some of the famous scene.
Yeah, I didn't really know what I was showing you there, to be honest.
I have no idea too. So yeah, I think
you heard some of the voices at least.
Yeah, so everybody talks with a silly accent, except for Chip and Dale, who has a Chip and Dale's voice.
Yeah, a little bit more understanding than the original, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I still understood pretty much everything they said, and it didn't feel as grating as I would think that they would sound.
So that was.
It was the animation was pretty tight.
Yeah, it was kind of good for the 80s.
Yeah, it was very fluid and very expressive.
Yeah, and as I said, one of my favorite shows growing up. Not the favorite, but one of them.
Who's your favorite character then?
I think when I was younger, it might have been Dale, but I think I've changed to Monterey Jack.
Same. He's Australian.
Yeah, but I don't know. He kind of has a more fun adventure personality.
Yeah, I mean,
and you kind of, from the clips I showed you, do you understand a bit more about that gadget situation?
Yeah, I get it now. So the famous scene. But still, it's just a little mouse. There's all the things that you could have picked to base your cult around. Why does it have to be an animated mouse?
Well, I don't have the answer to that. Sorry, Karol. There's gotta be some animated character, and they chose gadget.
But there are more appropriate ones, which I will not name because I don't want to implicate myself.
What, Jessica Rabbit or something?
I mean,
like
even that. Or maybe they feel that it's too normy.
We can't like that. It's too normal.
Yeah, way too many people.
We take this little mouse instead.
Yeah, they're like cult hipsters. Like they can't. You know what? I'm not gonna judge. They have their reasons.
And recently, and one of the reasons maybe why we did a Chip and Dale episode right now is because there has come a trailer for the newest Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers film that comes out 2022, and
it's this year.
Yeah, I knew that the Lonely Island was behind the film, but I did not think that Disney would allow them to do apparently what they did with this movie.
Or isn't Lonely Island also responsible for the Lego movie?
They had a part in it. They weren't responsible for it. But I think they created that famous song from it.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but apparently one of the guys directs the film, and Andy Samberg voices Dale. And it's an interesting idea per se, because it's not really a reboot or continuation of the show. It's kind of like the characters were actors on the show, and now it's like 30 years later. Yeah.
So, for listeners, if you're not in the know, recently there's been a film announced, which, as Fredrik explained, is like a continuation. So it's been 20 or 30 years after
30 years.
30 years after the original run of the series.
Yeah, and when they were dancing with Roger Rabbit.
Yes, exactly. And after such time, like, all of the people involved in the series, like Chip, Dale, Montgomery, Jack,
Monterey Jack,
Ratchet, they like moved on to do different things. Some of them fell into hardcore drugs, which is cheese. Some of them dipped their fingers into cosmetic surgery, which is Dale or Chip?
That's Dale.
Yeah.
No, he did. What were the exact words? The CGI surgery.
Yeah. So
which he has turned himself into a more
presentable
human
CGI
human-looking Dale.
But it's interesting, and
it's kind of weird because at the same time they have a ship like in this 2D, but he still looks a bit 3D to me.
Yeah, I think it's a 3D model with like 2D shading on it, so that it looks 2D. But when I think about what's the danger, what's the evil, what do they need to do?
From what I have heard of the plot, one of the original cast members have disappeared, which I think is Gadget, because she is the only one that you don't really see in the future parts.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess Chip and Dale have to team up again to find out what has happened and rescue her, I guess. But
there's also like
I don't understand why it's just Chip and Dale, because Monterey Jack isn't really, and Chip isn't really with them.
But Montgomery Jack has been shown in the movie.
Yeah.
That's why I said that he's like hardcore drugs. Well, it's more like cheese.
Yeah.
So there's also like this
I
cheese
said,
subplot.
Lonely Island.
Yeah, so there's cheese subplot, and I think there is something about like this CGI procedure.
There's kind of also this maybe we should continue with your point.
Well, I wanted to touch on... Honestly, go for it. Why not?
There's also this thing with the Lonely Island, I guess, explores different weird animation parts of this, like in the movie you will see at the different points some animated characters just being there, like when they are at the convention, there's just normally an anime girl there for some reason, or when they were in the beginning of the trailer when they were this dance scene and there was this animated cat and the 3 little pigs. So animated characters, I guess, in a
real setting, just like Roger Rabbit.
In a Roger Rabbit kind of way, shows up a little bit here and there, and some with the different animations. Like in the end of the trailer, it's what they call for that weird animation phase where they kind of used live action actors who
just like CGI so just like this weird 3D CGI. But I think it's interesting because it's I mean, for the most part we haven't had a movie like this since Looney Tunes, like Space Jam, and I don't mean the sequel because like yes, the sequel is kind of also, but everyone had the CGI procedure. But in Space Jam people are not like that, and it also like develops further because like sure, it's like what happens behind the scenes. Just like animated people exist, and that's who they are. But now there comes this question that is it like, should they change who they are just to fit some standards so that should be more hireable or desirable?
I think this approach maybe was for the good part, because I feel like maybe now people are maybe a little bit more interested than they maybe would have been in a normal like Chip and Dale type of movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And not that I would say that there would anything wrong with that, because I probably would watch it, but this makes it a bit more fun and interesting in a new way. But I am a bit surprised that they were allowed to go this way.
Yeah, and I agree. But you say that you would watch an animated Chip and Dale movie. If it was not for these changes, I probably wouldn't. Because like it's interesting that there's
that's what I mean with what's this. This is probably a good idea because it gets people more talking.
Yeah, and like I'm like now we're talking about the movie, and I'm thinking like, where is it gonna go? Is there gonna be something bad with the CG procedure? How are gonna tackle about like all the changes? Is there gonna be about like what happens when an animated figure does not get the change? Do they get discriminated against, or do they like is what is the deal? Why are people disappearing?
And with the fact with the crew, the crew that is behind it, and apparently they have gotten to do what they want with the project, you kind of wonder how far will they stretch it.
I hope as far as they can, as far as Disney lets them.
Let's see. Did you see that also monster? There was kind of a monster in the middle of the trailer which had kind of different animations parts, like his arm was a different, and like I think his stomach was kind of like our Robin Hood kind of green shirt of normal animation, and I think he had CGI robot arm and a cat head.
Honestly, I haven't seen it, but maybe that will be also important to the plot.
Maybe.
Because there's like, I mean, if there is a CGI procedure, why isn't there more procedures? Like, what if you wanted to turn into anime? What if you wanted to turn into like cheap ass 2000s dwarf?
I really wonder what they're planning to do also, because I'm not really sure who's going to be the enemy, for an example. Or will it be Gadget that is the enemy, maybe?
I mean, what if there isn't an enemy, but there is like a more like a facing threat? Like that people are getting like. I mean, what's the next point after CGI procedure? What if it's like turning into people?
What did you think of the voices for?
Good.
You don't like the original that much?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. I just have something against like squeaky characters.
Okay.
It's my only pet peeve.
Okay. I can understand that. But it looks interesting, and I don't know. As I said, I probably would have checked out a normal Chip and Dale movie, but this it's more exciting in some way.
Yeah, there's like questions that viewer may ask themselves, like, and that like it's a little bit thought provoking, which is fun.
And it seems like it's a commentary on not just the show, on like also animation in general.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, I didn't think about it before, but now that you said it, like, yeah, because like there is this current trend to just CGI everything when like old school animation is a little bit shelved. But will we end up with just more more of the same, or like homogeneous media landscape, or are we just gonna like? Is it gonna be all boring and the same?
Well, I guess that's something we'll see in the future, Karol.
Yeah, I hope that they touch upon like that the movie has a message.
But anyway, thank you for listening to our, I guess, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers episode of this podcast. As always, thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this as much as we have. Don't forget to follow, hit that bell icon, or follow us on socials like Twitter. See you again in the next episode, and have a wonderful day.
And thank you, Jahzzar, for beautiful intro and outro. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.